Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here, with my next Legend of Korra news update video, and also my speculation going into K408 Remembrances, this Friday's episode. So yeah, news, really there's not much to talk about, because obviously the show's coming to an end, so obviously most of the news is just that, like, very recently Mike and Brian they're over in South Korea now, at Studio Mir, and I think that they've been there to basically monitor the final few days of production on the animation for the finale of the series. And just recently they posted on Tumblr with some images saying that basically they had a party to celebrate the finishing of the animation of the series. So that's a pretty big thing. And it's just nice to know that as of now, the series has completed its animation. I assume there's still some work to be done with regards to maybe like editing the episodes together and stuff like that, but for the most part the animation's done, the series is in the bag, they just have to release them. We don't know yet what the schedule is going into the last few episodes of the season. Right now we assume it's going to be weekly at the very least until like maybe the last 4 episodes. I assume 4 would be the most they do for the finale, but even then they probably separate it into like two-parters or something like that, so we're not really sure if they're even going to do a two-parter. If you remember correctly, we've had a two-parter opening for every season except this one, where they just did it weekly. So I'd actually almost enjoy it if they just went, look, 1 episode every week for the end of the series, and didn't do a two-parter or something like that, because I would actually think it would be a really cool idea just to actually have that second to last episode and have speculation going into the final episode, rather than just, okay, here's the two-part finale, let's have 2 episodes and not speculate on the very last episode. Because the main reason I say that is because let's remember Book 2 Spirits. Let's remember the last 2 episodes. Darkness Falls, Light in the Dark, 13 and 14. Imagine we saw Darkness Falls and we had a week to wait before Light in the Dark. That was probably one of the craziest cliffhangers of an episode ever. You know, Rava ripped out of Korra, Rava destroyed, past lives gone, Korra like pretty much defeated, her avatar power is gone basically. Imagine waiting a week before finding out what happened next. Imagine the speculation about how on earth she's going to win after that. But instead, we just went straight into like the dark, we saw the Tree of Time stuff and so on. Imagine that for the finale now. I really would enjoy that. Just the fandom would just be so hyped going into the last episode after a whole week of speculation about it. But we're not really sure about that. Other thing is just that apparently episode 8 was on iTunes for download for about 10 minutes. The day episode 7 was released, it was a mistake. And I'm pretty sure no one actually managed to full on download the episode. I'm pretty sure by the time everyone realised what was happening, they got to their like email notifications late and no one downloaded the episode, because I haven't seen spoilers for the episode around the place at all. So I'm going to assume no one got the episode, because I actually searched out for spoilers and didn't see any, so I assume there's no spoilers for episode 8. So that's the news. Now for some speculation on episode 8, which is called Remembrances, and that in itself is a pretty interesting title. Remembrances. Remembrance would make sense, but the multiple makes it pretty interesting. Remembrances. And to me that points towards this being a more slower paced episode. We're not going to get a massive amount of action. And the preview clip seems to point to that as well. The preview clip is Mako training Wu to be a little bit more tough, and while they're talking, doing this fighting, he mentions that he used to date Korra, and Wu wants to hear about this, and apparently Mako's going to tell Wu about this, so he's going to talk about his memories of being with Korra. So that seems to be what's happening there. I would assume on the other side of the story, maybe Asami goes to see her father, and they remember some stuff. Or else Korra and Asami talk, and Asami brings Korra with her to meet Hiroshi or something like that. I'm not really sure. Maybe Korra won't even be in the episode that much. And then on the Varrick side of the story, I think it would make sense for this to be the episode where Varrick talks to Bolin about his past, which we know is coming. His voice actor did say that at Comic-Con, I believe, that at some point, I believe the Comic-Con for book 3, he did say at some point that we would be finding out, Varrick would talk about his past at some point, I think is the exact quote. We didn't get that in book 3, so we assume it's coming in book 4. And it would make sense because he's dealing with the whole Julie betrayal. So, given that Varrick and Bolin are on this boat now, travelling north, it would make sense that, they're not in the middle of action, they're among people they can trust, that this is the point at which Bolin would maybe ask Varrick, why are you so cut up about Julie? I thought she was just your assistant, why are you so close to her? How did you even meet her? And stuff like that. And it would make sense for Varrick to, at this point, explain how he became this crazy, important, rich businessman, inventor, how he met Julie and got her as his assistant and stuff like that. Why they are so close. That would make sense to happen, and stuff like that. Because I really don't think we're going to get a massive amount of action apart from maybe, like, the cliffhanger ending. Now, I know this is basically what I said in my speculation going into episode 7, but I really didn't expect the reunions to involve action so much. But now that, they've dealt with, a kidnapping plot with Wu, Varrick and Bolin have got out of just, wandering around in the wilderness to actually, heading somewhere with people they trust. They have a bit of kind of time to themselves. This makes sense to be more of the kind of calm before the storm towards the finale. Maybe we'll get a scene here or there of Kuvira explaining why she wanted to capture Wu, dealing with the fact that he wasn't captured. Maybe she'll kind of reveal her full extent of her plans going forward, like what she wants to do with the spirit weapon when she has it, if she wants to take over Republic City or not. That becomes, I think, more of a actual thing that could happen, her taking over Republic City, just because of the whole purging of people not of Earth Kingdom origin from last episode. She may be so kind of obsessed with the pure Earth Kingdom that she thinks that Republic City shouldn't be this place to itself, it should be back to being part of the Earth Kingdom. People from the other nations shouldn't be there, so I'm going to destroy it with the spirit weapons and take it over. Maybe that'll be her plan. It would kind of make sense, but I'm not really sure. So there's that. But yeah, I really do think this is probably going to be a lot of more character-focused stuff. Characters, just getting character focus going on the way. Maybe Korra will talk to some of the world leaders. That would kind of make sense. Because her reunion with Tenzin in last week's episode, it was very quick, so it would kind of make sense that she goes to Tenzin to talk about her 3 years and just remember what happened. Maybe talk to him about this thing that's happening to her when she goes to confront Kuvira every time. The whole vision of herself thing. Maybe Tenzin will help her through that. That would make sense. And then just in general, I'd like to see some of the other minor characters get more focus. I'd like to see Jinora, Opal. I'd like to see Kai come back. Iki, Milo, and stuff like that. I'd like to see them get more time, but right now all we really know is that Wu's going to talk to Mako, and is that going to be anything massively important? I'm not really sure. It seems to be pointing towards like some Makora talk at the least, and will it set up them getting back together? I'm not sure. I have a feeling it may turn around and end up being like Mako teaches Wu something, and again, I hope Wu has a big character arc somewhere that makes him like important more than just this comedy relief character. Other than that, will we get any like progress on what exactly the Spirit Vine stuff is? Will we get like Toph doing anything about the people being in Inner Swamp? Hard to tell, because I'm not really sure if we'll get much action, and but I still think my prediction of maybe the whole Beifong family meeting up at some point sort of makes sense. Lin hasn't really been in the book all that much. I think she was in it like in the first episode for a little bit, and I think Mako mentioned her in the last episode, but we haven't really seen her all that much. I think she was at the coronation. So it would make sense that she comes back into it a little bit. Maybe she and Opal talk, because they are the only Beifongs like not directly like linked with Kuvira right now. Like Batar is obviously Kuvira's fiance. She's got the rest of the family captured. Toph is in the swamp that she's in, and Opal and Lin are in Republic City right now. So there's so many Beifongs around the place. It would kind of make sense that they all come back together because Lane meeting Toph again, I think, has been set up and it should be a thing going forward, especially now that Toph was mentioned in the last episode and they're in the swamp that she lives in right now, so that makes sense. Other than that, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, and that's the case with a lot of the stuff going on here. There's a lot of stuff to get to with only 6 episodes to go. We have to obviously meet Fire Lord Izumi at some stage. Will that be next episode? Not sure. I think we know for sure that a lot of the characters are going to like come together. A lot of the minor characters are going to come back into play at some point, maybe for some sort of invasion type thing. So, like the likes of Gamu, Tano, and those type of characters coming back would make sense. When that happens, I'm not sure. General Iroh coming back, I think, would be a good thing because we haven't seen him in a long time. It was season 2. Pretty early season 2 as well at that, so he was I think he fired on Unalaq, so maybe end of season 2, but yeah, that's it. They're my thoughts going into the next episode. Definitely in the comments let me know what your thoughts are going into this episode. As I said, my prediction is more of a kind of character focused episode, not as much action. It's kind of, as I said, calm before the storm, before Kuvira's next stage of her plan really kicks into action, and we're just going to really get going with things after that. But I think it makes sense that we need some more kind of quiet time before that. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching. Later on, I'll be doing my written review for K407 Reunion. So definitely, I'll put a link in the description when that review actually goes up. I'm basically going to start writing it as soon as you upload this video, so it should be up within a few hours. But yeah, the big thing with this will probably be that I'll talk a bit more in depth about the shipping from this episode, the whole Korrasami thing. In my video review, I know I didn't really mention it that much, and that's because I reviewed the episode like very early when it came out. Like I watched it, went straight to the camera and reviewed it, so I didn't really have any basis for what other people's opinions were on the episode. So I think the only thing I really said was like, hey, Korra blushed at that compliment. Korrasami people are going to go crazy, and sure enough they did. My Korra shippers went crazy at the scene later on in the episode, so I do really want to talk about the... I've already talked about the shipping on the podcast for K407, which you can listen to. I'll link that in the description as well, actually, because I think that this is probably one of our better Korra roundtables that we've done. Because when we got to the scene there, we did really just stop. We just stopped the review and just like focused on shipping for a good few minutes and talked about Korrasami, what our thoughts are on shipping at this stage in Korra. So check out that podcast and my written review later on. So thanks for watching, and bye.